Okay, so where do we want to... It's the whole thing about Talkaoke, Jordan, is that it's up to you, not just you, but everyone around the table, to decide where they want to take this conversation. There's been a lot of themes, and hopefully it will be connected to what people have said already. But where do people actually want to take this discussion? Do we want to talk about identity? Do we want to talk about new institutions, new ways of organising the world? Do we want to talk about what things we need to actually change? It's kind of up to you. Where do you want to go with this conversation?
Well, there's a rave happening out there, but it's just so much better here.
Okay, excellent.
Just
I didn't know there was a rave happening there. I thought it was all quiet. And
neither did I. You can't just go to the toilet and not participate in the rave, apparently, which is quite unusual for a museum. I've never experienced that. So that's
okay, I didn't actually know that. But yeah.
So do you know when you say that some things need to change, I think that some things need to stay the same, and we need to go back, like manners.
Yeah.
Some things have changed way beyond reason. The understanding of what's right and wrong has shifted so far apart that some of these things need to be brought back. I think some things have moved far, far away than they should.
Okay, like manners, for example.
Like manners, like understanding of that romance is not abuse, as pictured by 50 Shades of Horrible.
Right.
Or things like, for example, every single thriller that comes out, like that's very popular, portrays a woman being raped and tortured and murdered. Why is that so popular?
Yeah.
Why is that? So it becomes suddenly like this big thing, and it shouldn't be. Like, you can't censor, but on the other hand, you start questioning, what are people really interested in? Like, why are they so fascinated by this?
There's a lot of serial killer things on TV. Mason, give us a final thought, Kata, before you go.
I just, actually we saw a talk quite recently, oh God, I'm going to forget his name now, Future Optimism. What was his name? Mark Stevenson. And there was this incredible talk about how we're in the digital age currently, and as we move into the technology age, things are going to move forward so quickly. Government's going to change, and he has this kind of inherently optimistic way of looking at future trends. And it's still one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, because everything we're presented with is so negative, and I think we have to remain inherently optimistic about
anything to say about
change.
Manners, or why people are so obsessed with serial killers?
No, none of that.
Yeah,
but also, I'm going now to see, I think Kate Tempest is on in the main hall, and she is the most incredible, she's like spoken word, and she, to me, kind of is quite interesting and kind of representing change. I think she's kind of a voice for...
She embodies this kind of...
Yes, she embodies, I don't know, she just has a very eloquent way of talking about issues that are relevant.
Okay.
And that's where I'm off to.
Maybe we could all get a bit of that.
I want to pick up a point. What's your name?
Kata.
Kata. That's a nice name. A point in what you said about the new kind of digital age and it bringing change in certain ways. But something really interesting happened yesterday. So, as you all may know, as you all may know, American elections are happening right now, and Hillary is like Queen Hillary. So yesterday she held a yesterday she had a fundraising dinner in San Francisco, and it was $500 to get in. So, I mean, it's not open to everybody. So anyway, there was a protester who was among the crowd. She's part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And so she kind of went to the front where Hillary was standing and pulled out a kind of a banner. And it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was a phrase that Hillary made maybe 20 years ago in reference to like black people. And a lot of people have criticized her about her mass incarceration kind of rates when she was in government. Anyway, at that moment she was talking about high, mass incarceration and what we need to do in the criminal justice system. So this protester goes at the front. She has a very intense encounter with Hillary, and basically kind of Hillary challenges her, and they take her away out of the fundraising dinner. And so it kind of goes viral on Twitter, and everyone's kind of has, the hashtag was #WhitchHillary.
What, the bad Hillary or the good Hillary?
I think it was in reference to, she said something to like back to the issue. She kind of just ignored you need to, I can't explain.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's going viral, and then suddenly, apparently, Twitter stops sending data to all the hashtags. Right. So you have this really interesting thing where Twitter has been instrumental in social movements around the world. Yeah. If you think about the Arab Spring, that's where we got our news from. Yeah. If you think about just anything that's happening, mass shootings, groundbreaking events around the world, Twitter was the place to give people a voice when things were kind of just, we weren't able to access them. It democratized.
So Hillary Clinton somehow, like...
But suddenly, we have this trend going about Hillary Clinton's inability to defend something that's quite right. When you were in a position of authority, there were really, really high mass incarceration rates amongst the black community, and you couldn't defend that, and you challenged the person who defended that. But what's even more interesting is that you have this social media platform that has helped so many people gain kind of authority over their own narratives, silencing people's narratives. So you have this idea of change and technology bringing that change, but then you also have these kind of just power and how it was
hidden forces in a way.
Stepped in to purposely.
Basically Twitter quashed the stream. They took out the hashtag. I don't know. No one knows how any of these things work anymore.
They stopped data. I don't know when you.
Gathering the data, so they stopped making it rise within the topics on Twitter. So you don't know that that's the most trending item.
So they de-trended it.
They took that away. They took that power away. But this is it. This happens with any tool that you use online that you're not paying for. It's not yours. You shouldn't assume. So all your emails that you're not paying for the server, they're not your emails. They're owned by that company. So you shouldn't assume that you own that. And
why can't we do that then for Donald Trump? When he does something crazy and just outrageous, why can't Twitter just go at his defense and take down the data?
I don't know what's going on with there. There seems to be like a very large... Earlier on we were talking about, do people steal things from this museum? And it looks like something's being nicked there. Do you want to have a look at that? We've got security on it. Is that okay? Is that... They just walked out with a crate? Okay, it's part of the... Okay, we're just checking. It's okay, it's been passed and everything. Okay, well, but what about Twitter? What about all these social media platforms? Why can't they de-trend Donald Trump? Why do they... Is it right to de-trend streams?
I mean, I thought that Twitter was about freedom of speech, but clearly, clearly it's not.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say. Right?
Okay, I mean... have we got a right to be optimistic about the future, or is it going to be more controlled in a way? Is it going to be more...
My flatmate ordered a parcel to the house. So this afternoon I came back home and I've noticed there are some parcels for a Beaumont or something like that. I was like, who the fuck is this? That person doesn't live here. And then my other flatmate explained that Craig is using that name as his cover name for ordering stuff online. And then we were just laughing because he doesn't want to be found out, that he doesn't want the system to know what he's doing. So I'm basically revealing it now.
Okay.
But the point is, we were just sitting and thinking about it. So probably when Craig types in his name into Google search, it probably just gives him a hint oh, do you mean a Beaumont or something? Because Google already knows it.
Google knows it anyway. So the system is actually cleverer in a way.
Because when he makes a transaction online with his card, it's going to be, always linked to this card, right? I know there's people who always try to get out the system, but I think it's just impossible.
You can't escape the system.
You just can't escape.
You can protect yourself a little. Say on Facebook, I have my birthday as 14th of February.
Yeah.
Just for self-protection. Yeah, and also, congratulate me on that day, I don't mind. Yeah. The ones who know my birthday will know. The ones who don't are not my friends, not my close friends, so.
Okay.
just to protect myself.
Okay, hang on a sec, let me just summarize this. Let me articulate what's going on here. Is this social media stuff, is it a tool for us, or are we the kind of animals in the farmyard? Are we being farmed, or do we actually control this? I guess that's the question. Or is it Big Brother, or is it some kind of tool of...
I believe it's promoted as a tool, and something exciting and fun at first, but then eventually maybe it turns into something else, it transforms. So for instance, like Facebook is probably like a mass data collector, and who knows where that information goes, you know, NSA somewhere.
Okay, so in a way it starts, in fact we were talking about this earlier on about counterculture becoming culture. Maybe it starts off as something which is for us, but eventually gets absorbed into the institutions. Have you got a final thought, Donald? Give us a final thought.
Nothing too, not really. Vote for staying in the EU, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
No massive fun.
Okay. What, have you heard anything today that's been...
I must say, the other thing I want to say as a final thought is, I love this sort of setting. As in, this doesn't happen normally, and I don't know how you replicate strangers sitting around a table just voicing their opinions aimlessly at some stage.
What we do.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to be more of it. I think this is this sort of public platform, which is very small, but at the same time is useful. I think most people don't know what their own opinions are until they start having these kind of conversations.
Very true.
And I get really frustrated. I think you mentioned earlier that the media is just so, when you read the Metro or the Standard, you're only reading like a perspective on the news, and it takes people to talk and meet other people to form their own opinion, but also to hear what actual other people think, because it's definitely not the case that you can go online and see exactly what's happening. You see a sort of a sometimes very twisted version of the truth, but keep it up. This is what you do. That's brilliant.
Okay, yep. There's plenty of other events. Just log on to thepeoplespeak.org.uk and you can see what's going on. Also, we're on Facebook and Twitter, obviously. Although I think we've been de-trended, actually, because our trends, you know, whatever we put on Twitter never rises to the top. Stephen?
Yeah, just a final comment before I go. I think social media, in all its forms, most of it is a force of good overall. Because it's allowing people of broad section of society across the world to voice their opinions and also learn about things that quicker than we used to in the past, before Twitter, before other forms of social media. So the Arab Spring, for example, I think I did hear about that first at work, because I was following BBC on Twitter, so I got it on my mobile phone. But if I hadn't had my mobile phone or Twitter didn't exist, I wouldn't have known about that until the evening when I turned on the radio. So therefore, it informed me sooner than before.
It speeds things up,
And there are negative things about social media. There are negative things about Facebook, and people can hide, and so it has got its negative sides. But overall, it's a good tool or good development for the world.
Okay. Can we join in? Can we get involved in this? As I said, this is we can go. We don't have to talk about this. We can go in any direction. We can talk about anything. Let's maybe just get another quick round of names. Are you off, Jordan? Give us a final thought.
Yes. Thank you. It's been a great experience.
Okay. Are you here?
Final thought is, I think social media is good. Some sites are really cool. Like I have a friend who actually works for Twitter.
Yeah.
But I think it's something in the popularity. Once these applications or apps become so popular, it changes. So it needs like another app to kind of like rise.
Okay. So you
be
need
independent.
the next app.
Indie.
Yeah.
So it's something with like popularity. It's like too much recognition becomes like bad almost.
Okay, that's an interesting point. That, in a way, it comes to this counterculture thing as well.
A good one's Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is a charity. It does everything for free. Everyone contributes. By everyone contributing, the fluff comes out, and it's pretty honest. I think it's an amazing one. It's got news on it. If you wanted to look at it, I think that's probably my preferred way to look at information.
Okay, we've got a new face to say. What's your name?
Lottie.
And we didn't get your name?
Kian.
And
Elam.
Lena.
Marion.
Sophie.
And
Margot.
And I'm Mikey. Where are we going to take this conversation? Is it time to...
I was wondering,
keeping on the social media and data conversation, we were talking about social media stealing your data, and I'm genuinely asking, does it matter? Because I like cat videos on Facebook, and if Google wants to know this about what I'm Googling, do I care? Do I care if they collect which cat videos I like?
Which what?
Cat videos, if I like cat videos.
Okay.
Maybe bats are better, apparently. I don't know, those videos. No, but seriously, I agree with you. Like, what is the worst that can happen? So Google knows everything about me. What can happen now? What if Google knows everything about everyone else? We're all in the same pot then, so...
Google knows more about you than you know about you. Does it really matter?
I suppose, but wasn't there a case now where with the iPhone, they're not releasing that information to the police or something like that in America? You know, the two people who shot the school up or whatever, they're not releasing that information. So I guess, you know, there's times when these companies, they don't share the information. They want to protect our privacy.
Would you rather Apple knew what you're doing or the police?
They're the same thing, I guess, really. Yeah. You know, is there any difference between them? They're the same thing. People doing that to protect you and your data, or are they just doing that because they want you to have confidence in their product and, you know, they don't want to be seen as giving it away?
Okay, is it about selling more iPhones in the end?
Well, there is a bad example of this. There's the recent new Chinese social media website, which basically rates you, where you have a score, a citizenship score, based on, you know, whether or not you're liking propaganda from the government, whether or not you have connections who only like propaganda and who don't share anything negative. And this is not compulsory yet, but it will be compulsory, and it looks, and then this will affect what kind of taxes or what opportunities you have. So this actually shows how governments can have control using social media.
Wow.
Democratic country, like, can that happen in the EU? Like,
okay, I mean, what do people think? Will social, like a citizenship score?
Well, that's why we have data protection law. So that's the reason why we have it and we need it. And also, there is a search engine you can use if you don't want that to you know, take your data. DuckDuckGo. Anyone who can, you know, who wants to do that, they can do that. So they don't keep track. And say, I personally think, I don't believe in doom and gloom. Like, you know, it's easy to go down that route, but I think that humans are capable of the worst evil, but also the best good, and they're really resourceful. So if a government comes over, like, or a big giant corporation comes over and tries to take you over, there will be hackers that will do something, there will be somebody who will do something. We will not just give in and be controlled.
Right.
I just don't think so. Like, it's just not going to happen.
There are some creative people, some resourceful people.
They're everywhere. You know, we have education. As long as we have free education, I think we're going somewhere.
Okay.
Well, it's not, but okay, free education at least up to high school. You know, so that's a big deal, because think about the medieval times. So we look at these pretty dresses, and also pretty, but also pretty restricting. Like, you couldn't do things like, if I would be a woman back in like Jane Austen's day, I couldn't say these things. I would be considered unmarriageable or something like that.
Really? I don't.
Well, yeah, obviously you didn't. You just couldn't undermine that ever so fragile male ego.
Wow, okay, so restriction, where are we going with this? This restrictive dress, restrictive society. It's less restrictive now. Does that mean that male egos now are less fragile? No, but it's just not illegal to undermine them anymore. Okay.
What about the education? The comment was that we have free education. As it's provided that we have free education, this stuff will be fine. So then the idea is that if education ever changed and ever went to a situation where it had to be paid and it became not, the quality decreased, then then what you're saying isn't true, that we won't have these people who could save us from our own ignorance, that will save us from governments taking control in ways that they shouldn't do.
So do you think education might be a bit lacking these days? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that if it did, and it has been commented, so I'm not entirely convinced that it is
other
lacking.
people have said, like Kata was saying, that education needs a total overhaul. Well,
I was just going to say, when is the next one of this at the V&A?
Well, that's subject to negotiation, but we are... if enough people around the table say we want another one, maybe we'll do it in the next late session, which will be the last Friday of the month, which will be Friday the 24th, not the 31st.
Oh, 31st, yes.
Possibly Friday the 31st. Anyway, the last Friday of the month. Look at your calendar nearer the time. What's that?
I was just going to say it's a leap year this year, so I don't know what dates are doing anymore.
Yeah, so it will actually be one extra day, so it will be, if it's the 26th, 25th it will be, I think.
Friday though.
Is it?
Good Friday.
Okay, well I don't know, we haven't done the negotiation yet. Anyway, where are we going to go with the subject? Is it time for a new host at this point?
A new host?
Yeah, because I've been talking all the time.
Wait, who would be the other host?
Who would be the other host? I'm going to spin around. I've stopped here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Well, do you want to have a quick go in the middle, Margot?
Have a quick go. I need to find out what we want to do.
Okay, well, we'll find out, I'm sure. So let's give Margot a big round of applause. Stay there, keep it warm for her. I'm going out this way. Okay, give us a final thought before you go. Because we need a subject to sort of like move on to keep this fresh and lively.
Oh goodness. Something I find interesting about social media, and perhaps you could move on from that, is this idea that you have to get as many likes or whatever it is, all these new emotions, reactions that Facebook releases. That I have girlfriends who, if they post something and it doesn't get likes, they will remove it. And it's this seeking validation, and is it even real? I mean, how many of these people on Facebook do you genuinely know, do you genuinely love? And that baffles me about people on social media. Why is it that we are constantly seeking this validation via it? Isn't it really when you're communicating with someone one-on-one and you're investing in that relationship? Isn't that where you should seek that validation?
But isn't that a little bit more terrifying? I don't know, is it or is it not? Like if you're speaking face to face with somebody, there's literally no way you can hide. Whereas in social media, you kind of can. You can like something but don't mean it, or not like it and mean it or something. I don't know. Is it more personal if you have to speak to somebody?
I've said on Facebook that I do a lot of liking. I just go through like. I like liking things.
As an
personally.
acknowledgement?
Yeah, no, I just like, it's just, to me, it seems quite natural, and I think it's any different from like people getting those kind of plaudits, it could just be somebody laughing at your joke, or it could be like just getting some attention on the dance floor. It could be just any attention in general, that people go for that anyway. They kind of they don't necessarily total it up, but they get a boost from somebody smiling at them or somebody laughing at them or whatever. It's just the same, it's just online.
So I find Facebook really stressful, and so I stopped using it. I genuinely find it really stressful. Like, you do one thing, like you add one person as a friend, and then the other 10 people who are waiting to be your friend are like, why haven't you added me back yet? And then like you get a backlog, and then you get to like 400 people, and you're like, well, what am I meant to do? You're not liking me, you're not like, why haven't you seen my holiday snaps? So I found it really stressful, so I just like haven't opened it in a while. And when I say a while, I'm like years.
Has that ever happened to anybody when they were...
And I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to get back into it.
Okay, has that ever happened to you when you were going through somebody's photos and coincidentally you pressed like and that person commented? You're like, you're stealing my photos. Is that a holiday snap number 802? Not gonna lie, that can be bad. Yeah.
I don't understand. Why does anyone care? I mean, why? Because, say, I press like when I genuinely do like something. It makes me laugh or I agree with it. But I also press like if it's a friend and I think, oh yeah, that looks kind of all right. If I have a minute, I see some, okay, pack, whatever. I don't care. Who cares? Like, people press likes to all various controversial comments that I make on Facebook, which I do sometimes about politics. Not everybody agrees. I was like, for example, maybe I was wrong. Now when I look at it, maybe I was right, but I was devastated when Cameron won the election, the Conservative Party, and I made like a huge rant about it, and some people liked, and I know they don't agree with my opinion. So I don't look at it seriously. No one cares.
Does it matter if you post something in
I think they just have nothing else to do. It's just like, whatever. Like, who cares?
So, who are the people who really pay attention to their things being liked or not liked, or being friended or defriended or whatever. Who are those people? Like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
I think I'm more like a chimpanzee that just kind of like, and I'm kind of, what you're saying is actually what I'm doing. Like.
So is
But
it a thing
I
of
don't
acknowledgement?
say like of things I don't like. I don't often do it to like babies or, you know, family pictures, but sometimes, yeah, I just like. Cats. Everyone likes cats.
So you were going to say something earlier. Are you a liker, Facebook liker, or are you one of those people who wish there was a dislike button? Apparently there is one now, but I don't know where.
No.
Which one are you?
No, I like people's posts if I like them. I think in terms of what you were saying, Sophie, I think social media like feeds into your ego because it brings everything to the center to you as an individual, and everything is so tailored to you, you know? They recommend people that you know based on the people that you're friends with. It's just crazy, you know? And then the friends that you make on Facebook typically tend to be people who kind of think like you, or you have similar interests, yeah. And so it creates kind of like a mini world around you. And for some people it does, like it's personal, it's important. They need that validation that like means everything. They want to be popular, they want to be trending, they want to have as many, you know, people. But it's unique that maybe you guys are not like that, but
maybe everybody needs affirmation.
Well, I mean, is it any like real? It's just an emotional response, isn't it? It's real in the sense of whatever you're feeling is a real feeling. I mean, it's interesting you were talking about David Cameron, because in my Facebook feed, everyone that I know was like, it's going on about, you know, how Labour was so good, and, you know, Ed Miliband was going to get in, and weren't the Tories a bunch of twats? And because that's basically what I think, and they were just mirroring what I think. Yeah, but I mean, I think also Facebook, if it thinks it's something that's controversial to you, it won't show it. So I'm sure I've got friends that are Conservative supporters, but it kind of knew what I am, and it wants to reflect my opinion. It doesn't want to challenge my opinion.
So isn't Facebook just for general approving of people's opinion? Is it just reaffirming everybody's opinion? Do we need to be controversial on Facebook? Does it really matter that you say, I hate Cameron or I love Cameron? Does it really matter on a forum of social media?
See, that is really interesting, the way you say that it only pushes forward things that it knows you're going to like anyway, because it wants you to like it, because it wants you to like Facebook. But does that then mean that you end up with because people get a lot of news and stuff from Facebook now, does that mean that the news that you get is then tailored to what you like anyway? So you're never going to see anyone else's opinion, you're never going to see the other side of the coin, you're only going to get fed stuff that you already agree with. And I want to see stuff that I don't agree with and see the other side. Like,
so.
But if you have various friends, if you, for example, say I add people I meet that I do a lot of dancing, so I meet, you know, I add dancers because that will help me to connect to other dance events that I may miss otherwise, and it's really important to me. So, and anyone I'm not sure about, I just leave, I just never reply, and I'm not bothered, like, I'm not very technological, that's always my excuse. I'm like, oh, I don't know. So that's how I always do that. But like, so these people have very different opinions. So, and I will still see their feed. I mean, so is Facebook, do you mean to say that they're tailoring?
They do, so Facebook does tailor your feed. Like, they've done experiments on it. So they will curate your feed on things that they think that you want to see. So, and this is it. So you're having a tailored view. So viewing the internet through Facebook, you're viewing it in a tailored way for you and what they think of you. And so it's dangerous for that to be your one source of information, because it means you're only going to have you only have one slice of it.
Why is it dangerous though? Is it dangerous? Maybe it's okay to receive.
I mean, there's this.
Come and join. This is Talkaoke. This is everybody's.
We
like you. You can talk about whatever you want. Oh,
have you put pictures of your baby on Facebook? Did you get likes? You're not going to do it. Why?
No Wi-Fi, what? Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but my friend had a similar thing. He wouldn't put his baby's pictures on Facebook for data protection.
There's this thing called confirmation bias, where basically whatever we see, we use it to bolster our own opinions, to reinforce our own opinions. So, and that's, you know, with Facebook, it's even more like that. You just get whatever will just actually reinforce your worldview.
But what's wrong with that?
Like, go back to it over and over again because it's the familiar.
No, I just check events. Like, I just check dance events that are on, so I don't miss them. And if I see Marilyn Monroe, I automatically press like. That's all I really see.
It's still centered around your interests, and it's helped you to shape.
Go on the app, like every time I see something new on Facebook, I just go on the app and go out again so I don't see the notification. I don't even read it. I never see what they're really there. Until I see a dance event, I'm like, yes, or Marilyn.
So you're saying something very interesting, because we were talking about Facebook being just a tool to kind of reaffirm our beliefs and kind of make ourselves feel better. But actually, you're saying you follow other dancers so you can network better. And I sometimes feel like with social media and like marketing, it's you can't opt out, because if you run your own business, if you
for some people that's what it is. Like say I have a friend who designs these beautiful bags, and for him likes are completely
sold bags basically.
Essential,
Does anybody else want to say freelancing using social media to basically promote, sell their stuff or their services in order to
entrepreneurs?
Yes, I do, but it only goes to left-wing people because...
guys are going. Give us your final thought.
Final thought.
What's your final thought?
Facebook is great. I just don't think you should get addicted to it. I think you should be realistic, and that I quite agree. It creates a world. It presents a certain... It bolsters your ego, and you need to still be connected to the outside world.
How do you do that if you...
Meeting with your friends and go out and do things like this.
Just come to more Talkaoke sessions.
I was going to say, Talkaoke is the best, for sure. The best event in V&A today. Good. Actually engaging people, not just delivering. Yeah, I recommend Talkaoke. I'm going to put a post up on Facebook.
Do it!
Don't worry, it'll be on YouTube as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Time to go.
Okay. So everybody's abandoning us. That is just so bad. Everybody's going to go. Suddenly just let us disperse.
This is the time.
We're not getting enough likes. We need to go viral.
Social media representation is a good job. No.
We've got to get Twitter to boost our tweets, to boost our ratings and all those things. What are you doing later? Where are you going off to now?
I think I'm just gonna go home and get ready for the weekend because it's gonna be long.
Okay, and what's your final thought about tonight?
I loved it. It was so interesting to just, to have like the beautiful space, which is like feels interesting. You feel like you're in the studio, like some radio studio. You are ever so important. You can say whatever you like, and everybody's smiling at you, even if you say David Cameron sucks. I don't think he's that bad, but you can say your opinion about European Union, either you're in or out or whatever, and you can say that. It's really cool. I really liked it.
Cool, so you're going to be coming back again?
I would love to. I've taken a card.
You have? Okay, excellent. You can follow us on Twitter, but I don't know how good that is. Just ring us up or find us.
We've obviously worked out how we get higher ratings on Twitter. We need to say some good things about Hillary Clinton. Don't say anything controversial. I think Hillary Clinton is absolutely great.
Welcome to Talkaoke. This is a free talk show. Everybody can say whatever
Thank
they
you,
want.
Lina.
People are going, people are coming. We have just been talking about social media, whether you use it for work or whether you use it for pleasure, about data, how much does Google and the system know about you through your data. So my name is Margot, this is...
Mikey.
Mikey.
Kevel.
Kevel?
Yep.
Lauren.
Lottie.
Kian.
Kian, yes, so that's what we've been talking about. So what are your views? Do you feel like you're being controlled by Google and Google knows what you're going to order in restaurant and like what you're going to click like on?
I think I'm probably naive about this. I don't reckon they know that much. I don't reckon they know as much as we think they do. Or if they do, you look very sceptical about that.
I'm trying not to look anything. I'm just sorry. I'm just trying
facilitate
to
the conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to facilitate neutrality.
I'm not scared about it, I don't think.
You're not?
No, not particularly. I mean, what good's being scared? If it is the case, then we sort of we're going to get on with our lives anyway, aren't we?
I think so. I mean, do you think we can get on with our lives without being constantly reminded that we are doing okay, that we're getting enough likes on our posts on Facebook? Like, do you need that reaffirming?
Yeah, I think that's quite dangerous. That's pretty dangerous, especially for like younger people. Like, can bring up a lot of insecurities. Like, you don't really understand what you compare your real life to people's virtual lives, and sort of the boundary between those two is, in your mind at least, blurs a lot, and that's quite dangerous. I think that insecurity ought to be tackled in some way.
Mikey?
I didn't, because I'm sort of like, when I'm not doing Talkaoke, I'm a kind of performance artist, and I was doing some experiments where this is sort of thing that people like me do. We did like a word association game. The problem was that we just went around, everyone said a word, but people were just thinking about it too much. So I changed the game a little bit, and if everyone else said yes when the person said the word, then they just said anything, and then people just said yes, and it just went along a lot more kind of...
Why was that, do you think? Is it something in the power of the word yes?
I think we really underestimate how much we need that kind of, those plaudits from other people. We need that approval. It's actually really, really important for all of us to get that kind of feedback. And when we get it, it's great. I mean, I'm just talking about myself, but in this experiment, it definitely worked well, and people just say yes to whatever you say. It's so much better.
So is it important... Go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Sweet. I don't think that's necessarily to do with social media. I think social media has facilitated this discussion about how do we expose ourselves as social creatures. But like historically, there's everyone always followed the crowd. Like that's Kierkegaard saying the crowd is untruth. Like everyone was just always a bit like, oh, they liked it, so I liked it, but in slightly different ways. Like, oh, they wanted to, I don't know, take part in that like protest against the witches, so I'll take part in that protest. And also, like, socialness has always been a kind of constructed performance. I just think that because of the rise of the internet, it's facilitated a dialogue focusing on that, and that isn't necessarily where the questions about the internet should be focused. Like, I don't mind Google knowing what I'm interested in and then selling that to advertisers, because it means that I actually get advertising that is something I'd buy. But I think the danger of that is that it creates an echo chamber where you forget that not everyone wants to buy the same things as you and like has the same political opinions. And I think that's actually the danger, the fact that it's so, you forget how targeted everything on social media is, rather than the fact that you become aware of being part of a social performance.
So maybe in a way we don't, maybe the fact that Google is like picking up on everything that we say and we like, maybe that's actually what is... Come and join us, come and join Talkaoke.
Guys, it's fun.
You are just nicking some stuff from the museum. We saw you before. Get some social... But you mentioned Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard,
he was very unhappy. He was a very unhappy person. He was very depressed. His life wasn't great. He didn't get enough light.
Exactly.
But also, he turned out to be quite an all-right philosopher, so maybe actually getting, you know... You dispute?
Well, I don't think being an all-right philosopher necessarily takes away from his daily struggles. I mean, as far as he was concerned, he wasn't a philosopher at all. He was just he was another man with a massive existential crisis. So, you know, we might look back on him and say, oh, this can't have been a big deal for him because looking back, he ended up being a very important figure. But he didn't see himself, because he was looking at himself at the present rather than looking back on himself as a historical figure. The problems that he faced are probably as present as the ones that we're facing now, and they're probably as likely to be the same, similar in another 100 years' time, another 100 years' time.
But I guess, isn't it a little bit hard to kind of see yourself from the outside if you're in a moment? I mean, is that easy to do, to see yourself objectively?
I mean, I think someone like Kierkegaard, these days they'd probably put him on Prozac, and he'd be a lot happier, but he wouldn't necessarily come up with the insights that he came up with. And I personally think that, in a way, Kierkegaard, if he could do this, would say, I'd rather be miserable and tortured and thinking about things and come up with this great ideas and be miserable than actually be happy.
Can anybody ever choose not being happy over being happy?
Yeah, definitely. This is what I'm saying.
Come enjoy Talkaoke. We're talking about being happy, not happy.
People don't actually want to be happy. They would rather be tortured and like in a miserable sense of existential angst than actually being happy.
I mean, are people like masochists?
I'm not sure I necessarily agree with you, but I do agree that sometimes through great toil or great hardship, there have been really good things that have come out of it. So great piece of art have come out of it, great music has come out of it, and like so there's a trend. Like I remember there's a trend between very famous bands coming out and depressions within the UK, and so it's kind of. So I think there's something can come out of it. I don't know whether or not it's a good thing though.
I mean, someone like Schubert was incredibly, he had huge problems throughout his life, and he created so much great art.
Who was that?
Schubert, 18th, 19th century song composer. He created extraordinary art, and looking back on it, we might read it with a very biographical eye and say, in the context of what he was suffering, and the fact that love evaded him, and that his only sexual encounter was with a prostitute once, and he got syphilis and died from it. This was a pretty traumatic. Well, it's a pretty traumatic life, and all of those feelings that we might associate alongside those experiences are definitely reflected in his music. But if you said to him, would you rather be happy by finding love or blah, 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 I'm sure he'd say, yes, I would, because, again, at the time, I don't think if you're a real artist, you're saying, oh, I'm going to endure this because I know that great art will be the product.
But a lot of artists do say sometimes, I get my kicks, I get my inspiration from being unhappy. If I'm in a moment of happiness that really doesn't inspire me much, I'm just like, fine with it. Nothing really happens.
Lottie, what's his question?
Come on, Lottie. You've got an opinion about that.
I don't, you've sort of already said it. That if you sat down and you could pick a life of blissful happiness, or you could pick a life of suffering and dying of syphilis, but creating some really awesome art as well, I think you would probably choose to be really, really happy. I really think you would.
That was the crux out of that discussion, was the point that you wouldn't know that you'd created something amazing. So that was it. The choice is to live a hardship and not know, or live happiness and bliss.
The assumption that you can't be happy and also be an amazing artist, like, why can't you do both? You could do both.
Because then you become mainstream, basically. You're rolling in it and just mainstream. Sorry, Mikey.
I think actually kind of like a sense of wanting to change the world and hatred for things, literally hatred, is really important as a creative practitioner. Possibly.
What's more powerful, love or hatred, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the film The Matrix, there's a strong suggestion there that the life of happiness, the blue pill, I can't remember which is which, is kind of like, is also, like the real struggle is that somehow more meaningful. And you get that as well. There's one of the team that goes double crosses them because he wants to enjoy a steak and just be happy again. If you've seen The Matrix, I think you might have done. So, but actually, there's a strong sense, there's a strong idea that the life of struggle is more meaningful than the life of happiness.
Who is in charge of deciding whether that's more meaningful or not? There you go. Have you guys seen Matrix? Have you got any opinions about Switch? I can't actually remember Matrix. I remember we were watching it once. Sorry?
Really good leather coats.
Leather coats?
Yeah, really good aesthetic.
Yeah, what about ethical?
They weren't real leather.
Fuck that.
really good real effects in that movie. You know the whole scene in the lobby, like those columns were blowing apart. They were falling to pieces in front of them. And there's a really good shot where, the whole column has like been blown away. Like they've just like, and then Keanu Reeves runs around the corner and then he falls over and they had to reset the whole entire. They had to rebuild the column in order for Keanu Reeves to run around it. Like it was good. It was real effect. It wasn't all computer generated.
He was lucky to get a retake, so
Really
that's pretty good. So special effects. Yeah, we can go. We can take that conversation whatever we want. We can do about columns. I mean, we're in the museum.
Like film stars, we think they're having a really, really great time. They are suffering. You know, they're suffering. They're like being on a film set. Like, I don't know if you heard the interview of Leonardo DiCaprio doing The Revenant. He was. Whatever you say about Leonardo DiCaprio, and a lot has been said. He was there suffering, doing these retakes, being frozen in the snow again and again and again. And I don't think it's just about the money. It's much more about the fame and the meaningfulness. And actually the suffering gives that sense of meaningfulness.
Yeah. But he looks quite happy. Like, obviously he was sad in that film, but he's still probably like a happy guy.
Of sort of, in that example, his suffering is him as a very well-off actor who is having to go, who's having to go through these things, but those sufferings have no relationship to his character or that, because the artistry lies in the film, not in the real life, right?
It's peak tourism.
Yeah, but his acting, I don't think, is a result of the fact that he suffers by freezing temperatures. In the same way that I think a product, for example, the person who writes the script, their personal suffering imbues the product in a way that I think is not necessarily the same way. It's like it's an equivalent of the person who the composer of the music, his suffering that creates the work of art, isn't the same process as the performer who then interprets what's already been written. Like, your own suffering can't be sort of painted onto that work of art. I don't think it's the same.
So you're saying, like, if you're an actor, for example, you really need a director. You need somebody who's kind of overseeing the process, because you can be one suffering actor, but actually there should be somebody who will make it in an artwork, because you're suffering, otherwise just
12 suffering people.
But also, I think, like, everyone has experienced to some degree in their life suffering. But if you look at most of the UK art scene, it's dominated by people who went generally to public school and then their parents paid for them to go to RADA and like I'm sure they have suffered, like everyone has had something sad happen in their life, but like it's like a kind of scattering of suffering over immense privilege. And it is the same in America. Like Lena Dunham, her parents are very wealthy New York artists, and like everyone's like Girls is one of the best kind of modern TV shows. And I don't know, I think that the skill of an actor is that you can amplify that tiny amount of suffering in your life and make it seem as though the work you're in is about struggle, when actually, comparative to most of the people globally, like, you haven't known struggle, but people maybe project onto a film and say, I have known struggle, I can empathise with this, so therefore they must have also known great struggle, when I think realistically, like most celebrities, like some have, but some have had quite nice lives, and we just project onto that.
But maybe, do we need to see real suffering on screen? Do we need to be participating in like real suffering? Oh no, they're going. Give us your final thoughts.
I was going to say, I would have loved to stay to talk about what you were saying about the fact that the people were coming from privileged backgrounds, and that, you know, in some ways it's really tough to be, before you could be an artist and you could live cheaply and you could try and get away and you could try and build up, but now it seems to be that you have to have money in order to do some artistry, and that seems really to almost defeat the point of it.
Too, I think.
It
can
stifle the artwork. Like,
but again, who's there to judge that it's stifled or not? You know, if you are an artist,
other people.
And your final. Sorry, 1 second. Your final thoughts.
This is really awesome, and I think you can be really rich and suffer a lot as well, though. So it's not like one or the other. Or you can suffer a little bit and then get better, and then still do amazing art. Like.
Okay, nice sitting on the fence there. Come back. See you later. Thank you, Mikey.
I mean, earlier on, Lina, I think she was called, was asking why people wanted to see TV programs that are all about rape and murder and serial killing. Why is that the most popular thing on TV?
So you're saying this is a response to what we want to see anyway?
I think we would just want to see the most extreme...
Come and join us. This is Talkaoke, this is Everybody's Talk Show. You can come and sit down, you can have an opinion, you can form your opinion as you're sitting here. We're talking about brutal TV. Why not?
Well, I mean, my ex-girlfriend just watched these things all the time. And I'm like, why do you want to watch serial killers all the time and psychopaths? But so many people do. I mean, like, you know, so many things like The Killing or the other one, the other, you know, there's so many, True Detective. I just find it personally very troubling, especially The Killing, actually. I thought was a bit, like, troubling. And I'm like, why?
Was it a film or is it a TV series?
It's a TV series with it's one with all the Willy Jumpers set in Denmark. We need some Danish. But,
we've got fat here.
But it's not just that, it's pretty much everything. Like, you turn on the TV, like, every single drama is like, you know, always seems to be Matthew Bourne running around with a gun, killing somebody. You know, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it's not reflective of our lives.
Or is it reflective of some aspects of our life? Is it amplified?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's like endemic of the 21st century and an obsession with violence, because I saw a production of Medea a few months ago, and the original play is horrible. Like, she murders her own children and then she just kind of fucks off and flies away. And this production was actually still had like the undertones of violence, but it was shrouded in this kind of, oh, I'm a yummy mummy and I'm not going to kill my children. I'm just going to like not send them to the right school, or I don't know. I don't know. However it ended. But I think firstly, society's always had an obsession with violence, and I think again it is just the fact that an age where everything is on TV and social media, it seems amplified, because that horrible killer from like Game of Thrones, people watch it millions and millions of times over, but like you've historically always had like spectacles of violence drawing really large crowds. I think it just says something a bit like darker about a human fascination with that kind of thing.
So this is just part of who we are. This is how we made that we just have this dark side, and it's violent, and it's actually fine. So nothing wrong with a bit of violent TV, bit of, you know, killing here and there in the film. That's all kind of
and
fun.
I think if anything, it shows that we're less violent, because in those roles often like you're playing the voyeur, you're like, this has no relation to my life. I don't go to work and find that my colleagues have been murdered and I have to like hunt down someone in like the plains of Denmark.
I think I know which one you're talking about though.
Well, I've never actually seen, I feel like The Killing and Borg, they were like merged together.
Should have asked the Irish guys there.
Yeah, it still shocks us, doesn't it? You're so right that this has been part of human history for a very long time, and in all cultural products there has been huge elements of violence, and yet somehow we still find it, like you said, you don't want to watch it, or you find it disturbing and shocking. There's that new that Sarah Kane play on the National at the moment, and there was a review that said that like 40 people walked out and 5 people fainted during it because they thought that the violence was too...
Is she back on again?
She's on it. Well, it's her first one at the National. She's not been done at the National before.
Oh, okay, no, she hasn't.
I don't know, can't remember what...
I think Royal Court...
Royal Court is where things like Blasted and 448 Psychosis were done for the first time, but I don't know what this one's called.
Anyway, before we proceed, I just need to get a round of names, because you're sitting here and I don't know what your names are. My name is Margot. What's your name?
Hannah.
Hannah?
And Kat.
And Kat, and we've got...
Mikey.
Lauren.
And Keval.
Keval, right, so we were talking about, violence, we've been through this now, but you were saying no violence is necessary, we just live our lives happily, nicely, no need for any kind of brutal TV.
I don't know whether it's necessary or not. I agree with you that in the past, obviously, it is some hidden element of our psyche. Maybe TV violence is just the modern day expression of going to watch an execution, which a number of people did for entertainment several hundred years ago.
Have we moved on as a society, or not really?
Well, I guess we've moved on in the digital age, and we don't go and see it in person. It's very much removed, but...
Is it just because of the times that we live in that we can be removed and still enjoy it morbidly by looking at stuff on social media or whatever, or Twitter? We were talking about Twitter earlier.
I think Mikey wants to talk.
He definitely has a point to make.
I was in Lincoln in this very table, and we coincidentally had a whole load of people that played Call of Duty around the table, and I was like, isn't that like an incredibly violent thing to do? And they were like, no, actually, Call of Duty gives you inner peace because you go around shooting people and, you know, you go up levels. Rick will know more about this. You know more about this. But it gives a sense of inner peace. It doesn't make people violent. It actually, there's almost some kind of release and some kind of like, like almost like a punch bag or something like that, or some kind of, you know, like I might go swimming if I'm stressed, that they'll play Call of Duty.
So
these games has increased or made more likely the possibility, especially in America, of young like teenage gun violence has been shown, like oftentimes to be proven, well, not proven at all, but just related
about,
to
games and
like
violence,
childhood
and
behaviour, like the Columbine killers. Like when people flicked through their history, it was clear that they'd been reading these kinds of comic books and had been steeped in a culture of violence, which therefore made them more prone to violent action. So to say that playing Call of Duty makes you a peaceful person is probably isn't something that can be substantiated necessarily.
But is there any data to confirm that, or is it something that it's based on assumptions? Do you think that people who play violent computer games, it's fine, this is just a form of release, or is it actually inducing any sort of violence in real life? And let's get a name of your names as well. What's your name?
Lily.
Lily. We've got
Teresa.
Teresa. We've got
David.
David.
George.
George.
Stephen.
Stephen.
Mikey, I'd like to get a final thought from Keval and Lottie.
Okay, right. We've got Kat. Just quickly.
Kat. Hannah.
Final thoughts.
Americans aren't violent because they play computer games. They're violent because they have incredibly lax gun laws, and they need to sort that out. Closing statement.
Okay. Thank you.
Dunno. This was excellent.
Did you enjoy that? Good.
Yeah.
We'll come back again.
Yes, absolutely. See you all soon.
So what's the final thought?
That.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Right, brilliant. So, Mikey?
I've got a comment. It's a little bit of a skew comment, but what it made me think is that actually museums are kind of like a sort of filtration system where you just filter in you've got a street out here, all the nice people come in. So you've just got nice people here.
So is it a bit like equivalent?
It's like a niceness filter. And apparently they're going to do. I'm not promoting the V&A, but there's going to be a V&A in East London, and they probably need one there. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know when it's happening. Apparently it's going to be in the Olympic Park next to West Ham United.
So do you think we need a filter of niceness in East London or in parts of London? Do you think the parts of London or the world, they need like a hub of niceness, like a channel through which people come and then they come out nice and not violent?
The problem is, it doesn't really. It's great for us in here, but outside there's still the not nice people that haven't come in. So maybe we should be, I don't know, more concerned about them. Like it would, like for example, at West Ham United, just not many people would go into the V&A. I would have thought so, yeah.
But how do you do that? Have you got any ideas how to get West Ham players and supporters into the museum?
Yes, so I saw a bloke wearing colourful clothes earlier saying free hugs. So I think if you offer, to get people in the stadium, if you offer people to enter a raffle to win a season ticket for West Ham United, that would get them in. Because then they would come. Or just give them free hugs. Just go around and say free hugs for everyone.
So do you think free hugs would work on football supporters, like football players?
It's a great tourist attraction. Like, there's a lot of tourists who go to see football matches. No. Football's not manly. Like, free beer.
So free beer, free hugs. That's what a combination.
Free beer and free hugs.
Is there maybe a slight worry that if you get, not to disparage West Ham United football supporters, but maybe not particularly appreciative of museum curiosities clientele in here, that you might actually potentially damage the museum curiosities?
I don't know. Are you like, what's the saying? Like, are you an elephant in a porcelain shop? Is that a saying?
Bull in a china shop.
Exactly, that one. If you let me
there is actually a West Ham kit in the Museum of Childhood from the 1980s, which is run by the V&A. I mean,
so it is possible. It happened before. So what are you saying?
I don't know if any West Ham supporters actually came and saw. I'm a West Ham supporter, and I came and saw it.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Sorry.
Sounds like I think it would be a good idea to do these events in the Museum of Childhood. I think that would go down very well.
Yeah, because it's closer to East London, it's closer to East Ham. It'll be easier to ship
Drinks,
in there.
regressing back to childhood,
Yes,
having a good time.
drinking in the park, on the park bench. What are your memories?
I just had a brainwave. Okay, so to get them here, have a V&A like West Ham edition. So in each room, have like old West Ham players, and they can offer signed shirts. And in like you can have a karaoke room where you get members of the public to sing "I'll Be Blowing Bubbles." And then you can do like a flash dance, so somebody can start singing "I'll Be Blowing Bubbles," and you get everyone to join in. It'd be like a choir.
Okay.
So if we do, I think we should do it now. So you're a West Ham supporter.
There's a problem with that.
No?
There's
Why?
one rule of Talkaoke. In fact, there are two. One is no fighting, one is no singing.
Unlike West Ham.
So that may be a problem. But I appreciate your point.
I just want, actually, the very first Lates I came to in 2004, Joe Cole was there. Probably nobody knows who that is, but there you go. Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's a footballer, scored a fantastic goal for England in the 2006 World Cup. Yeah.
Okay.
The only happy memory from that tournament.
Okay, excellent. So he was here. How did he get here? Like, was he like honey trapped into something? Was it free beer or something like that? Come and join us. This is Talkaoke. This is Everybody's Talk Show. You can talk about whatever you want. We're talking about West Ham. We're talking about how do you get a footballer into a museum. And apparently, if you give him free hugs and free beer, this is how you get them in. So do come and join the conversation. So, yeah, and there's a V&A opening in East London as well, which we're gonna, I don't know, see as
I just want to come to your point about the regression to childhood, and I think that there is, you know, certainly there is a kind of childish element to the whole football culture, which is about a kind of release, an ability just to be free, to just, certainly for West Ham supporters, swear your head off and just like be rude and loud and raucous.
So is that what comes with football supporting?
Yeah, but I mean, what I think there's a wider attraction of a regression to childhood, which isn't just for football supporters, but could be for anybody.
So just before we answer that point, we've got new faces around the table. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Mugabe.
Mugabe.
Vivian.
Vivian.
Lily.
Lily.
Teresa.
Alistair.
Alistair.
David.
George. I've introduced myself, but Stephen.
Stephen. Still Stephen.
Mikey.
Kat. Hannah.
And I'm Margot, this is Talkaoke. So, yeah, so regressing to childhood, drinking in the park, and also being, I don't know, just whatever you said. It was just being disruptive and raucous. We had somebody with that name at the table earlier, actually, funnily enough. So what are your memories of childhood? Are they a little bit like that? Were you a little bit of a raucous child?
Well, I think it's not so much about breaking the rules, but it's about the sense of freedom that you can just do anything. Do you know what I mean? I think we're maybe lacking that in our world, that we're too restricted.
Are we too restricted?
Maybe not here in...
It's a liberal country, so I don't think it's...
I don't know, what do other people think?
Is Britain a liberal country? Can you be... Is it quite restrictive? I'm looking at you because I felt like you wanted to say something.
Did I? Oh, no, I don't think I did, but I usually do. I was thinking about being raucous, just because I was on a train for about 6.5, 7 hours today. On the way up, the crack of dawn, I was with a stag party who were going for stag weekend, and they got on at like Newark, and they were going for stag weekend in Edinburgh, and they were with us all the way up, and they were raucous as hell, and it was like 8:30 in the morning, and
so
on the way
join in?
on the way back, I was so busy, but they were actually quite nice. They were like a bunch of nice guys, and like they'd like all drawn their own faces on eggs. They were going to do an egg and spoon race down the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. Like I have to say, like they were quite nice, because like they were at the very, very beginning of their stag, and it was 8:30 in the morning, so it was all right. And then on the way back again, like I was with another stag do, and like they arrived, and like they had like, and then they had like huge crates of beer, and like plonked them down on the table, and they were right there, and like the carriage was really hot, and everyone was like, oh no.
So what is it with stag do's then? Is it like a male thing, or is it?
It's a male thing.
Is it a male thing? So hen parties never get so.
Does a stag party ever come to a museum?
That's a very good point. Maybe it should.
Maybe it should.
What would they do in the museum, though? Would they
Probably
bring some of that into...
sit around a table and talk about stag dudes going to museums, perhaps. Who knows?
Maybe. We could just imagine that we are...
It's very meta, isn't it? Like, we could all be on a stag.
Would you come to a stag party like that?
Every guy here is actually on my stag. This is a massive hoax. Seriously.
Are you serious?
Everyone, guys, stag. Yep, everyone.
Yeah.
Of course.
Excellent.
Every man is on a perpetual
So what's
stag.
the first activity? What are you going to do? At a stag party?
Maybe we'll sing a song.
No, we'll see. It's like a running theme. Like it's not allowed to sing songs.
We've already talked about West Ham. That's because tomorrow we're going to see West Ham as part of the stag. No, but talking about kind of raucousness and back to childhood, everybody's naturally raucous though, aren't they? It's only when you become older that you put layers of control over yourself and you get told that you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't act like that, you shouldn't,
Is that right?
behave in a
some
certain
people,
way.
you say about some people, oh, they're just like so peaceful, they're just so nice, whereas some, especially siblings, who is, if you guys have siblings, like one of you is always like more raucous and the other one is more kind of calm, but other people are born like that.
True, yeah.
It kind of comes naturally. Have you got experience of that? Oh, who said yes?
Yeah, I suppose when I was little, I was never raucous. I was very shy, very quiet, very unassuming, and my sister was more outgoing than me. And I was always jealous of her.
Were you?
And she was younger than me, so... And I always wanted to be friends with her friends.
But you were, okay.
So that's a bit weird.
So how did that work out? What is your sister doing now? Is she...
She sort of followed me in everything I do.
Okay, so tables have turned.
Tables have turned.
Okay, you were going to say something? No? Mikey?
Well, I think it's when I was here earlier on, I was a bit worried because everyone was talking. Normally in the museum, everyone talks in a very quiet voice like this. Actually, this is a bust of René Descartes that was made in 1769, and everyone's talking this and I was a bit worried that the Talkaoke wouldn't go down well because everyone would just be talking. But I don't know, why do they all talk like that in the museum? Why don't people just talk in a normal way? Or was that just not? Is that normal? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's not a raucous. Normally, the museum is not a raucous place. That's basically what I'm saying.
But we can turn it into raucous, probably.
I mean, clearly you haven't been to the Represent Radio Park because they were blasting out Hotline Bling by Drake earlier, which means, that was quite raucous at the time. Yeah. You don't expect that in museums. So occasionally on V&A Lates it can become raucous. I mean, everyone was it was like sort of subtle dancing, but some people were really going for it. I was tempted to do break dancing earlier, but I didn't. One reason, I can't.
Why can't you?
Oh no, I tried to practice a dance move to Major Lazer song in the summer. It didn't work out very well, I'm not going to lie. I thought it would be a great way of pulling girls. Because I thought if I learned to dance, it would be a great way of pulling girls. If anything, it put them off.
Okay, well maybe there weren't, I don't know.
I don't think you should be discouraged by early setbacks. I think you just need to just keep doing it and eventually it'll work, seriously.
But there is something weird when you go to disco, I don't know if you call it a disco anymore, and then you start dancing like you don't care, and then that actually puts people off. Or is that your different experience? Have you got a different experience?
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I think if you just need to do it for long enough, say about 20 years, and then eventually it has the opposite effect. Yeah.
Which nightclub's open for 20 years? We want to go over there. Is this like some kind of continual... I reckon somewhere there is, maybe in the heart of Berlin, a continual nightclub that has actually been open straight for 20 years. And there is one man perfecting that dance move. And it's now just about bearing fruit. And there's a crowd of people coming around him and he's thinking, now is the time. This is my moment.
So what kind of a dancer are you? Are you a perfectionist? Do you master your dance routine over 20 years? Would you be that kind of person, or would you just improvise?
Just see how it goes, I think.
Just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Dancing on a stag. Boys, are you going to get them to dance on a stag?
I mean, there is no rule about not dancing around the Talkaoke table, so I don't know. I mean, maybe something can happen now, but there's no music playing, and that's the main problem.
Maybe just try a bit of a break dance.
Okay. Okay.
Perhaps we can have a lesson in breakdance from the breakdancing maestro. He can
Somebody's already
perhaps talk
done
us
this.
through, and then the rest of us can learn. We can have a breakdance seminar right now.
Breakdance masterclass.
I feel this could be like a TED talk on breakdancing.
Absolutely. It's not exactly Major Lazer, but it can happen. I propose things that you don't do in a museum. You don't have a rave. Apparently, you don't dance. You don't speak loudly, but we're doing all those things. So, if you guys feel like joining in with Talkaoke, come and join us. You can join a conversation. You can join a dance. There's a man approaching us. He's going to say, "Turn it down." Is he? Is he going to say that? No, he's joining in with the dancing. It's okay. Right, no, he was drawn by the music. Should there be more of that in a museum? I really don't know. I think there should be. I think, guys, you should just basically start dancing. Okay. He couldn't even hear his radio. But there you go. So what were we talking about? We were talking about, raves and how dance, I don't know, just dance is a thing that people do. Did people dance on the train on your way to London? The stag do people? What would be the dance?
A little bit. Like, I suppose, like, in the way that, like, men dance on stag do's. Like,
what is that way? I don't know.
Like,
I've never been to
like,
one.
like, on the train, it's, like, wobbling about in the middle of the carriage, a bit drunk, a tin of beer in your hand, like, but a bit, like, doing that kind of, like, leery man dance, which is, like, you know,
right?
like,
So there's a thing like that.
disjointed.
There's, like, a trademark move.
Come on, yeah, like, you,
Okay.
like, we've all seen it. Or some of us have
Probably all
done it.
done it, yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Not just seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something to encourage or what?
Not really.
Why not? Freedom of expression.
I just think that somehow there's kind of like all-male gathering. I know that I have just said that I go to see West Ham play, and that's kind of mostly male, I have to admit. But it just, I'm not really sure what the point of it is. Do you know what I mean? It, like, maybe there should be some more kind of male bonding and sort of like just understanding what it is to be a man or something like that. But it isn't generally what happens. It's just like who can drink the most.
What about women? Do women do bonding better?
As we walk through the gallery here, I don't know if anyone noticed the bull on the carved tree. You should all dance around that.
You say you, but you mean all of us.
I think the guys should.
Why?
Like,
okay, that could be a nice centerpiece.
I have a question. Is like, do women do like leery dancing when they're in all women groups? Like when they're in Hindus, do they do like leery dancing? Can like leery apply to women?
Okay. How do women do leery dancing? Here we go.
Yes.
Spokesperson.
Yes, it can apply.
They do it. How do they do it? That's not enough. You need to explain.
I think it's better to keep it simple and just do it with yes. I mean, you'll never be in one of those all-women rooms, so all you need to know is that yes, it gets Larry.
Okay. So is it important? Like, what's your experience of female bonding? I mean it, you know, like we were just talking about. Do women do the leery dance like men do? Is that apparently they do? So that's fine.
I'm not sure about I'm not sure about the word Larry.
How does that translate into a movement? I don't know. Maybe we could ask.
I don't know.
What's a Larry movement? Can we get an example? How lungey lunge?
You know, lunge. You know.
Yeah, no, like, how deep? How far?
How deep is your lunge? Isn't that?
How deep is your lunge?
Is that a Bee Gees track?
Yes, it is. Well done.
It depends person to person, but everyone's done a lunge on the dance floor.
What about those awkward snake
Have you lunged ever on the dance floor?
I'm not sure if lunge on dance floor, but I do have a friend who lunges her way around the world.
How does that work?
Wherever she goes, she has to do a lunge, and then she gets rated for it.
Sorry, you've got to explain. What is it? Like, who rates her? What is this thing?
Just friends on Facebook rate it, saying like, do I have good form for this lunge?
Okay.
On Table Mountain or
So is it a bit like
Sydney
a
Opera House?
planking? You know when people do planking?
Yeah, but a little bit more sophisticated than planking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, more classy. So, okay, well, I didn't think about lunges like that, so didn't realise that.
Let's do lunge.
Let's do
I can have a lunch break.
Let's have a lunch break.
Yeah.
Speaking of breaks.
Yeah. Is it time to switch around?
I think it's time to swip around. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well, maybe it's good. For, I'm quite intrigued by the other side of it. Oh, by the way, guy, I'm the spare. I'm the substitute Talkaoke talk show host. So I'm going to jump in, and we're going to have Margot's going to have a lunch break. I'm going to have a lunch break. But it's kind of the whole point. I should just maybe rephrase and reframe this. The whole point of Talkaoke is it's kind of up to you. You know, how long you stay, what you want to talk about, where you want to take this. I mean, earlier on we were having quite a serious debate about whether to stay in or out of the EU. But with you guys, it's more about stag parties. Maybe it's because I've been around the outside of the table. But it's kind of up to you. I'm just going to lunge back into the table. And we'll just see where you want to take this. It looks like you guys are going, let me just get a final thought before you go, which might give us a clue as to where the direction of chat follows from here on in. Final thoughts, anyone?
Final thoughts would be... oh, cripes. Oh, I don't know. West Ham.
Yeah.
I want to go back there one day. I went there once and went in the wrong half. I went with my brother to see Everton versus West Ham, and we went in the West Ham half.
Okay, and that was a bad idea.
He was wearing an Everton.
Okay, let's see. Anyway.
Closing in 5 minutes.
We're closing in 5 minutes already. Okay, so we need to get some final thoughts.
Live life to the fullest. There you go. That's my final thought.
Yeah, and how? I think that's...
More lunges. There you go.
What, more lunges? Does lunges lead to a fuller life?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Any other advice on how to live life to the full?
Really rubbish advice. Don't drink too much on a stag do.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Right. Okay. So we've got 5 minutes left. So please gather around. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We've got 5 minutes of this left. This is Talkaoke. It's the free-form talk show. So far today we've talked about, what did we start off talking about? Probably something to do with museums or... No, it was British identity we started off talking about.
Can I just ask? Can I ask a quick question? Because it's been kind of boggling me. Why are so many people in America wanting to vote for Donald Trump? Does anybody have any idea?
We actually...
Anyone can hit me with some theories?
Okay. Have we got any Americans calling out Americans? We've got 5 minutes left. We want to know why so many of your citizens are considering voting for Donald Trump. Let's just quickly get around the names because we need to find out who everybody is. I can just remember your name, Mugabe. What's your name?
Vivian.
And?
Donal. Alistair.
Jill.
Johnny.
Margot. Kat. Hannah.
And I'm Mikey, and a current subject on the table is, what are so many Americans, why are they contemplating voting for Donald Trump? Mugabe has put that question out there. Has anyone got any answers? You're shaking your head. Yeah?
I heard a theory which I think is pretty subversive, but I think it's pretty apt, which is that people are that aspirational that they think that they could get that rich if they tried that hard, and that's why they're voting for Donald Trump. They really think
they could be like Donald Trump.
The American dream, and if they vote for him, they will somehow become like him.
So he kind of embodies the American dream.
So, like, if you were born with a $200 million inheritance, you too could become the American president. It's a beautiful ideal. We could all strive for that.
Okay.
That's the only thing that explains why turkeys vote for Christmas.
Okay.
They really think they could be eating that Christmas dinner.
All right. Okay.
I'm not sure. I go back to I think we talked about it ages ago, or I was here a while ago, but it was I came back for more.
Yeah.
There's definitely a fear. There's a fear that things aren't as good as it used to be, and he seems to have all the answers. He's got very little policy, but he's saying America will be great again. So I don't really want to do too much research into actual policies, but that's an easy option.
So it's more about living the dream, a belief. In a way, it's not that similar to what you're saying. He embodies something.
Yeah,
he embodies an ideal.
Yeah, I think he embodies just he's caught on to the very very real fear of a lot of people. I think here as well, because we were talking about it on the sort of rise of the far right. But he's giving people an easy option. He's being like, I'll solve all your problems. And I won't tell you how I'm going to do it because I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I will solve them all. And I think that's really appealing to a lot of people who don't want to engage in any of his policies.
It's less, I think, from what you're saying, I'm just going to paraphrase, it's not what you said, but I feel that's kind of, to me, that's the meaning. I'm going to ease your fears, maybe more than I'm going to solve your problems. Is that fair to say?
I think he's definitely stoking their fear to get them to vote for him.
Right.
So yeah, you're probably right that he's going to sort of ease their fear after they vote for him.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say he's easing any fears.
Yeah, okay. Any other theories about Donald Trump, ideas, observations about Donald Trump? Anything positive anyone got to say about Donald Trump? Because we need to, let's be balanced here. Anyone got anything to say? You got something, yeah? Okay.
I have something very serious to say.
Yeah?
It's a new topic.
Yeah?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid the museum is now closing.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say, because have you been wanting to do that
it's
for
closing now.
But you always have to listen to that, but now you're actually saying it on the microphone. Say it a bit louder.
Ladies and gentlemen, the museum is now about to close. Do you have any sound effects?
I can do this. Hang on, yeah.
An applause.
Hang on a sec. Yeah. Try it again. Yeah, I've got this one. Go and do it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the museum is now closing.
That's just a
Please,
bit of reverb.
something better.
Okay. That's all I've got. That's all I've got.
Like 10 on me, amplify. You know,
okay, I can do it louder.
Ladies and... Let's not destroy the museum, please.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for hosting us. Big round of applause to everyone. It's all been food for thought. Sorry that we had to cut it short, but what you need to do is go and ask these V&A people to have Talkaoke back for the next late and forever, and then maybe we'll be back next month, or maybe the month after that. But it's been great. It's been a great evening, and it's been great to see you all. And enjoy the rest of your evening.